Oh man, why are my devices not working? Tried everything, but my devices simply don't get online. I wish there was some kind of way for me to figure out what's going on. Well, maybe there is. Maybe there is a way to troubleshoot connectivity issues. My name is Lawrence and welcome to another episode of Show Don't Tell. This series where we not only talk about technology, but show you how things actually work. In this episode, I'll show you different devices, each with different connectivity issues. Let's get started. First, I have with me a device that's called Walter. And Walter has a sequence Monarch module that supports LTE and narrowband IoT. Everything seemed to work fine and suddenly everything stopped working. Well, let's try to isolate the issue. Let's head over to the Monogoto hub where we can directly see the SIM is activated, but it's not currently online, so it does not have an active session with any network. I can see that some data has been sent in the past. But if I scroll down, I see a lot of events here. Location request that the device is sending, and then the network responds with a location answer. And this is one of the initial steps for a device to establish a connection with the network. And in the end, the network purges the device, meaning that it got kicked from the network. Probably because it did so many tries and the network stopped responding to those specific requests. So we can conclude that the device is trying to connect to a network, but the data session doesn't start. And if we see these types of logs, I can conclude that it's not a hardware issue, but most likely a configuration issue on the radio module. So luckily we have physical access to the device and we can fire AT commands to this module to see what's going on. Connecting this device to my laptop directly using a USB cable and then using a serial program such as Minicom to connect to this radio. Let's check if we can send AT commands and the device directly responds. So first, let's check if the radio itself is on. Then I'm checking if it recognizes the SIM. Then I check CRAC, and CRAC checks the LTE network registration and currently shows 2, meaning that it's not registered, but it is trying to attach to some kind of network. AT command is cgg-cont, which checks the current APN settings defined in the module. And here we see something strange. live.vodafone.com. That's odd because I did not set this specific APN. But what can happen is if the APN setting is not explicitly defined, that the network it initially registers to pushes its APN settings onto the device. And everything works fine as long as you keep connecting to this network. Maybe this device moved outside of the reach of that specific network, and because it's locked to this APN, it's not able to switch to a different network. So we need to update the APN setting, and we're doing so using the following commands. Then we wait. This allows the SIM to connect to a network, and it does. We can directly see CRAC 5, and CRAC 5 means that the device is roaming. And that means we have a current session with the network. So let's check this in the Monogoto hub. We can directly see that the device is online and we see different types of event logs. We again see the location answer and location response, but now we see that the PDP context is authenticated. So everything seems to work fine and the device is now fully connected. Issue here was improper use of APN. So always explicitly set the APN in the radio module. With me, I have another device, which is the Nordic NRF 9151DK with the Nordic chip. And I set up this device to report data to a device management platform that's called Goliath. So it's reporting the temperature data, but for some reason it stopped Monday night. If I look at the Monogoto hub, I can also find out that data is sent yesterday evening up to midnight or so, and strangely enough the device is activated and it is online. If you scroll down, then we can find that it successfully authenticated the PDP context, so there is an active session going on, as we already can see in this top icon where it shows that the device is online. I will explain a powerful feature that's called capture or packet capture. And this feature enables you to download all the IP traffic that's sent in a specific time frame. So let's create this picture and analyze exactly what data is sent to what endpoints and if any error messages have been received. So let's download this packet capture. and we're opening it up with a program that's called Wireshark. Here we can find all the data sent in the previous 30 minutes or so. So we can see the source IP and the destination IP. Here we can see the specific IP address from the Goliath platform. The device is constantly connecting to the Goliath platform, but no information is being sent back. And I know that it's using co-op, not plain UDP, so I do expect a response from the server. So there's some strange behavior where only the device is sending data and nothing is sent back to the device. Based on the data we've seen here, I don't think there's any connectivity issue that's related to the device or the radio module, because the configurations are correct and the device is properly connected to a network. So something else is off. And my hunch is that it has to do with either the credentials of the device, disabling it to connect to the server, or maybe there's some firewall rules in place. And that's what I'm gonna find out. Back to the Monogoto hub. I'm going to the advanced console. I head over to security, IP security profiles, and I select the security profile that applies to my specific device. We go to security, IP security rules, and we select the IP profile that the device is using. Here all the firewall rules are defined. If we go to outbound rules, then we can directly see that all UDP traffic is blocked, which is probably the reason of this connectivity issue. If we have another look at the PCAP file, then we can find the destination IP address of the Goliath platform as well as the destination port. So what I want to try is to create a new firewall rule that allows traffic that goes to this IP address using this port. Let's create a new rule. Enabling UDP traffic to Goliath. Allowing UDP data to this port, limited to the IP address. Now I'm dragging this rule on top of the others because I want that this rule overrules the rule that blocks the UDP traffic. And I click save and close. I'm going back to the Goliath platform after some minutes. I'm clicking the refresh button and bam, I see new data appearing. Temperature is 20 degrees. So by updating the firewall rule, I allowed data from this device to be sent to this port that the Goliath platform is using. So to sum up, what you can do is to create a capture so you can look at the exact details of all the traffic that's sent to and from this specific device. Let's look into the final connectivity issue. And I have the thingy 9151 from Nordic that I'm using for this connectivity issue. Again, first head over to the Monogoto hub. We can see that the device is activated and it's online, and we can see that data has been sent at relatively frequent intervals. There in the event logs we can find out that at 7:44 this morning a new session started with Vodafone. Also, if we look at the NetFlow feature, then we see that data has been sent from and to specific IP endpoint, and before that there was a recurrent flow of data which suddenly stopped. And if I open up the NRF platform where the data ends up, I can see that the latest message appeared about 5 hours ago. Something is off with this device, but again, it doesn't look like it has anything to do with the data session itself. Again, let's create a packet capture. But when I open this file, it is completely empty. What can I conclude? No data is sent. And if no data is sent, I know that it's not a misconfiguration of the settings. It's not a misconfiguration of the firewall, because then I know that some data is sent but is not received. It can be captured, but there's no data sent at all. So we know based on this information that the issue is related to the device itself. Let's look again at the device. I found a very nice box that I put the device in this morning. So let's see if the device is still in there. Oh, device is in there and it has a flashing light. But wait, is it a metal box? Oops. So this is probably a connectivity issue that the box I put the device in blocked the signal. Of course it is. I went back to the NRF platform and what do I see? 1 minute ago, a new status update was received. We did not see the radio module trying to connect to a network. neither did we see anything in the packet capture. And if this is the case, it's likely that networks don't reach the signal, either because of a bad antenna, a broken antenna, maybe the battery is dead, or in my specific case, it was something that was blocking the signal altogether. What happens to all of us? Devices that simply won't connect reliably. But instead of blaming your operator or cursing your way around, there are actually a lot of things you can do to figure out where the problem is and to solve it yourself. So if you're still having issues, then make sure to reach out to us or directly to our support team, support@monogoto.io. And there are also tons of information that can be found on the documentation. For example, there is a full guide on troubleshooting a connectivity issue and what AT commands you can use. So yeah, the cool thing is you're in control and you can get a lot of information out of the Monogoto hub. My name is Lawrence and this was another episode of Show Don't Tell. Best of luck troubleshooting your connectivity issues.